It is Dallas Cowboys Executive Vice President Stephen Jones. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, guys.
Well, we are excited about the win, and then we got the terrible news with the Terence Steele injury that he is in fact out for the season. How tough is that to see for somebody who has worked their way up and been playing very well?
Well, exactly. I mean, you hate it for him first and foremost. He's put a lot of work in to his trade. I mean, he has really had him a great year. He just keeps getting better every year. Does everything the right way, and certainly a tough deal for him. Obviously, a tough deal for our team. But at the same time, we've been resilient this year, and we do have some depth in that offensive line between Ball and Peters, and certainly we got Tyron coming back, so that'll be a big plus for us. So. We just have to, as all coaches like to say, next man up. And at the same time, like you said, your heart goes out for Steele, for Terrence, and all the work that he's done. And he'll make a great recovery and be ready to go next year.
When you heard that Jason Peters initially didn't want to go in at right tackle because he didn't want to hurt the team, but then said, all right, never mind, I do need to go in right now. What did that speak to his character for you?
Well, he just it says everything. That's why we have him on this team. He's a winner. He's had a Hall of Fame career, and he wants to do anything he can to help this team win. And certainly, he went in there and did a really nice job for us. Certainly, Ball's getting his feet wet as we move forward there as well. But certainly, hats off to Jason for going in there and doing a really nice job. And we'll continue to prepare and see what the best group of guys are as we move forward, for these last 4 games of the season, and hopefully start to prepare for the playoffs.
Stephen, can you explain to the audience how difficult it is maybe to go from left tackle to right tackle? Because they both say tackle on it, just like left field and right field say the same thing, but I can explain how much different those positions are, even though they look like the exact same position.
Some guys have a real propensity to be able to move around and go left and right, but I'd call those guys ambidextrous. It's like been using your right hand, and all of a sudden you got to use your left hand to do everything. It's certainly different, and even though I've been in this league for many, many years, and certainly a pro, it's just once guys start playing on one side, they tend to want to. They're comfortable there, and they tend to want to stay there. So it's certainly a challenge, but certainly guys do it and are able to pull it off, but it's certainly not easy.
At 10-3, y'all have now notched double-digit wins in consecutive seasons for the first time since 95 and 96. Do you take any pleasure out of that, or are you like, that's not really what we're trying to do this season?
It's not, and we certainly it's great to have get 10 wins. It's a compliment to what our staff has done, what our players have done. Certainly, a nice bar to hit. But as we all know, when we start every season, your goal is to win, to get in the playoffs and win the East, and then certainly win playoff games and try to win a championship. And that's certainly the goal of this football team. I know yesterday we had our challenges and didn't play as well as we're going to have to play if we're going to go where we want to go. But at the same time, I thought the last stand the defense made to get the offense the ball back and the offense to go 98 yards was to me a big check mark in terms of character and sticking with it and doing what you have to do to win a football game. But certainly when we go in there and look at this game, which we are, and see what we have to do better, there's going to be a lot of things we can be better. And we know that, but it is good to get the win. Anytime you win a game in the NFL, it's a big deal. They pay their guys too. Certainly don't understand why they'd ever have 17-point spreads, but that's the end of the day, like I said, they're paying their guys. They got great coaches, great scouts, great personnel people, and they're going to be a really good football team in due time.
When Trevon Diggs was out for a few moments in that game, was there a little bit of concern for what your cornerback situation was going to look like there?
Absolutely. I mean, we've lost two top-notch guys, and Jordan Lewis and Anthony Brown. We do, as I said, earlier in the year, we've got great depth there. I thought Kelvin Joseph really took another step in terms of getting his consistency there at corner, and Nashawn Wright got him some experience there. But, after losing two, you don't want to continue to lose them. So it's great that Diggs got back out there, certainly made a big play for us, was real close to making another one when he undercut an out route. But, he's certainly, we need him for this run and need him to get accomplished what we want to get accomplished.
Well, and I'm glad you brought up Kelvin Joseph there. I was going to go to that place next because last week, obviously, Jerry told us, this time for him to become a man. And is he there or still progressing towards that right now?
Well, he's getting his first, big doses of it. I think, one of the most encouraging things is he's become one of our top special teams players while he's had to, bide his time behind Anthony Brown and Diggs. But, the fact that he's, is consistently week in and week out one of our best special teams players, if he applies that same focus and consistency to being a great corner, a lot of people, in this organization believe he may be one of the most talented corners we have. He's got all the skills, all the tools. He's long. He can make plays on the ball. He showed it in college. He's just got to go out there and be consistent. He obviously made a great play yesterday to stop a drive, and we'll expect him to continue to get better.
And that probably kind of answers this question, but you talked a lot about his physical skills. Are y'all confident he has the mental makeup and mentality to excel at that position as well?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, he's shown it on special teams and, being consistent week in and week out, one of our best guys along with CJ. And if he'll apply that same focus to being a great corner, I think good things will happen.
I know a lot of conversation happens about culture with the Cowboys and everything like that. I was reading an article in the Dallas Morning News about Anthony Barr in his role on the Cowboys versus the rest of his career. And he was like, I'm really buying all in. I had to put my ego to the side and do what was best for the team. Do you feel like that selfless mentality is big in this locker room?
Absolutely. I think we got a great group of men playing the game for us, led by, I think, a really top-notch coaching staff that instills that in them. And certainly we've got the leadership at the very top, in terms of the players, Dak and Zach and, that group of men over there, DeMarcus Lawrence, all of them leading the way in terms of, really setting the tone for what, our players need to be about. It's about winning ball games, and there'll be games when some guys have bigger games than others. But, I think you look at Zeke and you look at Tony Pollard, and, to me, they're the perfect example of what this team's all about. They're root for one another. They're very comfortable in sharing that load. They're a great 1-2 punch and a big part of why we're winning football games right now.
Stephen, there were some moments yesterday that Dak looked kind of uncomfortable, and I can't really figure out or put my finger on what it was. I mean, that first drive was really, really good. That last drive, that last 2 minutes was really, really, I said fun. Kevin said terrifying, but it's a lot of fun. But there were some moments in the game where he didn't look like he wanted to pull the trigger on some throws. Was it because Houston was throwing some things at him that he wasn't prepared for, or what was the feeling there?
Well, I think obviously you start with Dak and you start with Kellen and Mike, and in terms of what their thoughts are on that. We're obviously going to go through the tape and look at it, but hats off to the Texans. They, everybody comes up with great game plans. Lovie Smith's one of the better coaches in the NFL in terms of his track record. So you have to start with taking your hat off to the Texans and what they were able to do, but. Certainly, we all know, Dak's desire to be great. I'm sure he'll go back and look at that and clean up any mistakes that need to be cleaned up. But as you said, he made plays when he had to. And that last drive was, I agree, both terrifying and fantastic. But certainly he came up big when he had to come up big. And I know there's no one going to, put the work into it, the time into it, certainly his passion for the game to be the best quarterback that he can be and ultimately be the quarterback we need to go win a championship.
I know it's difficult on a Monday with injuries and everything like that, but can you give us any insight, or have you gotten any updates about Jake Ferguson or Jonathan Hankins?
All those guys, we're in the middle of certainly evaluating them, and as we move forward, we'll have more details. But we'll certainly, as we get the information, we'll make the proper moves accordingly and go from there. We've got a great medical staff. Jim Maurer and Brett Brown, and we'll do what we have to do to get prepared to play the Jaguars.
On a bigger scope, again, reading some stuff about the upgrades and renovations y'all are planning at AT&T Stadium. I was hoping you can kind of give us some insight into what kind of stuff that is.
Well, believe it or not, it doesn't feel like it when you walk in there. We've been in that stadium now. We're in our 14th season, and to me and most people, it feels brand new. But certainly there's some areas. You're starting with our big scoreboard, we're so proud of. But it's over time, you get to where you can't find parts for equipment, and it's time to upgrade that scoreboard, which I think our fans are love. Audio, video in general around the stadium. Needs grading, as we all know, just from our own homes. That changes constantly. And then, in general, just freshening up all of our suites, our club areas, things of that nature. It be, something that for the most part, all fans will benefit from. And certainly we'll take the next step to have AT&T being hopefully one of the best stadiums in the world for the next 14, 15 years.
Are you suggesting that the board's going to go higher and that punters will never be able to hit it? Is that what you're saying there, Stephen?
No, not necessarily. It's kind of at a good height for our fans, and that's what's the most important. And the video hasn't been hit much, but certainly understand that part of it. But it is at a level that's optimal for our fan base, and I think it'll continue to be that way, and hopefully even better as we move forward.
All right. Awesome stuff. Appreciate it. As always, good sir. No matter how heart-stopping, congratulations on the victory.
Thanks a lot, guys. Always great being on with you. Have a great week.